Gosh, hey, good morning. It's always getting really good and then it stops. And I'm like, keep on going. Keep on going.
Yeah, exactly.
Good morning, Alice. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. I got this lovely new mug that I accidentally came across. So I ordered some dishes on Facebook. Someone was like, hey, I'm buying new dishes. Buy my old ones for $15. I'm like, that sounds awesome because my kids break them all. And I got this box of dishes and I guess this was a teacher. I didn't even know because there was like a bunch of IEP and math mugs and whatever. They were just in it. They didn't even say they had mugs. So I have a new mug today.
It's like, tell me you're a teacher without telling me you're a teacher.
Boom. Tell me you're a teacher. That's a good one.
Right? Would anybody outside like the general public would not know what IEP meant. So like, there you have it.
With this, I'm like, why are you having an IEP mug? I'm like, what?
I feel like we all should have one at this point, right? Well, it's going to be a great time today drinking coffee with you. Hey, Mikey, we have a great guest coming on in just a few minutes. And so this is going to be super fun. Thank you for tuning in, whether it's from Twitter or YouTube or Facebook. A lot of great stuff is happening in the community too. A lot of great conversation. So if you're not in our Facebook community, please join. Although I don't have the link right now. Alice will. I figured you would. So how's Kansas going? What's new in Kansas?
Yeah, Kansas is awesome. I just feel like I'm just making a lot of great new friends. I met with the head of the Chamber of Commerce yesterday, and we're going to try and look at what's going on for Black History Month, trying to figure out, I mean, a little late to the game since obviously it starts Monday, but just excited to be part of the community.
You know, that's great that you said that because tomorrow, and we're going to be streaming this live through the community, I'm going to be joining with Victoria Thompson, Dr. Eileen Winokur, and we're going to be joined by a couple of people, some of my friends from Nearpod Vocabulary, Mervyn Jenkins, Quinay Jackson, and then a wonderful Ida Jimenez from Bunsey. And we're actually going to be talking about Courageous Conversations in EdTech. It's going to be our 4th episode. And we've talked about like using resources that aren't going to hurt any of our students, especially our students of color. And a lot of times when we're not aware of what like that even looks like, we do that. So I hope that people will tune in, and we will have resources for Black History Month that will actually be super amazing for everyone. So so it's a good plug, whatever. Yes. Okay. Are we ready to bring our guest up?
Let's bring her up.
All right. So today we have an amazing woman. You all probably the co-founder of the RCA, amazing author. I'm not shaking right now. The last time I talked to you on this, I was shaking. I couldn't sleep. I actually got 2 hours of sleep. This amazing author. So this is good. I'm making progress. Miss Kim Bearden, how are you doing today?
I am great. How fun to join y'all this morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks.
We're glad you're here.
Excited. And your hair wins.
Well, thank you. My daughter is a hairstylist, and so I have to represent. She's like, Mama, you can't be walking around with your hair looking bad because everybody knows I do your hair. So I do my hair every day, but she does my color and my cut and all that kind of stuff. So
it looks awesome.
Thank you.
I did curl mine a little bit today, but I just couldn't manage the makeup. It just wasn't.
I hear you. I think that probably the makeup industry has probably suffered a little bit because why even go to all that trouble when you got a mask on anyway? I mean, everybody, when you're walking around, nobody's going to see from here down anyway. So.
Well, you got the eye part. I've got an eyebrow appointment for this week.
Because it is all about the eyes right now. That's all we can do is communicate through those eyes.
And you only have outfits from the top up. You want to explain that?
Well, yes. We actually started back with our students this week, and our whole staff. We had a week of. We were in the building for a week before the students came, and the ongoing joke is that we've all got great outfits from our waist up, but everything from the waist down, we're not sure we can fit in it. And then some people are like, I haven't gained weight, but everything has shifted because I've just been sitting so much. It doesn't fit the way it once did, and so we've been. And the other thing has been, of course, we're teaching with masks, so. I do cardio like every day, but you get winded when you're teaching you have to learn how to breathe differently when you're with that mask on.
Don't have a mask. I really highly, highly recommend that all teachers should have a microphone. There's only one technology that I know of that is universally proven that will improve student performance no matter if you change your teaching. And that's if kids can hear you, go figure.
We have audio enhancement, which we love. We've had it for years in our classroom since our building opened. And I do love it because normally you can even whisper with that microphone. And, we have large classrooms because we're in an abandoned factory that we renovated, right? So even kids can hear you whispering. So I am blessed that we have the microphones, which does help. Really, but I still feel like, because when you're looking at kids with these masks on, I'm such a people person, and I read people's body language and their facial expressions, and I want this connection with my students. That's so important to me. And, you really are trying to determine everything from the eyes, and, are they smiling, or is that child upset, or are they happy? And so I feel like for some reason, I'm just like trying even more to emote certain emotions toward them. So there's always first week of school teacher tired, but I think it was first week of school teacher exhaustion for us this week. But so happy that we're able to be in our building. We're fortunate because we're a large facility, so we're able to truly socially distance our kids. It's not like kind of suggested. It's truly able to happen. So we're very fortunate.
So I noticed that your room is different. Did you guys renovate like everything? Did the whole school get renovated?
No, so our school, for anybody who doesn't know, our school, in addition to being a middle school, we have kids here from 4th through 8th grade, but we're also an educator training facility. And so when it's not COVID times, we normally have anywhere from 400 to 600 teachers come here almost every single week. And that's actually, our school's a nonprofit. That's actually how we fund our school. So like everybody, everything just shut down. But prior to when everything happened with COVID, we had already begun construction on an addition to our building. It's a new wing. It's the Ryan Marshall Performing Arts Center, named after one of our extraordinary former students who tragically passed away, who was an incredibly gifted musician and wonderful child on stage. And so it's in his name. And we also have more additional seating in our classrooms, because when teachers come, not only do they attend workshops, but they actually watch us teaching so that they can take ideas back to their classrooms. Not because there's no such thing as a perfect teacher, but because, if you watch someone else in action, you learn, right? You just, that whole reflective piece of, what would I do the same here? Maybe even what would I do differently, but how can I learn from that and take that back? So this building is magnificent. We're so grateful for it. We're blessed. It was, funded and built, and then the whole world shut down like 3 weeks before our grand opening. So So we're just kind of giving out little teasers of sneak peeks, but we don't want to give away everything, all the wonderful magical secrets in here, until everybody can actually come and see it.
That's awesome. And I actually am slide certified. That's how I first met you. Alexis just made a comment. We used to work in the same district, and she also was there when you were at our convocation in Garland ISD, and blew us all away. Like, never going to forget that. And then a few months later, I got to go to your school, RCA, and actually be a part of that professional development, which is where I got this amazing book and signed it. But I remembered right before I went down that slide, I was really nervous because I hadn't gone down a slide in a long time, to be honest with you. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to get up, but I did talk with you, and it was a great experience. And so, yes, anybody that's been in your presence is usually blown away. But I'm glad to hear all the good things that are happening with your school and that the students are back. Do you think that, when do you, are you guys waiting to bring teachers back when it's just safer and the world is better? Yeah, because we've, of course, our students that we teach and our staff, our safety, and, we have to take care of our babies. So we're definitely going to wait until, hopefully by summer there will be, even more safety measures, more people vaccinated, that kind of thing, or maybe even late spring. So, we're keeping open, but we would definitely don't want to do it until our parents would be comfortable with that as well. And we're trying to figure out logistically, there might be some kind of rapid testing process before we let the educators come in. Anything we can do to protect our students during that experience. Yeah. So in the meantime, we've done like everybody, and we have shifted to virtual training. And so we've been doing a lot of that. And there are wonderful things to learn from that. There are things that are benefits of virtual training, because not everybody can come here. It's just a different way of thinking. So we've done some free online events on Facebook where we've, immediately shifted to show teachers. Our next one will be February 23rd. And it'll be a segment where all of our different teachers are sharing things. We do individual training for schools and districts. And then we also have something called Club RCA. Once a week, if you're a part of Club RCA, it's a subscription-based club, and there is a fund for it because we're trying to keep our nonprofit alive and be able to pay, fund our students.
we have an hour Zoom with people. We have people from Australia. We have people get up at 3 a.m. to join us. It's the craziest thing, which is so fun, but it's a community. But every week we share ideas and techniques and tips, but also we kind of do like this too. We just have time to feed each other's souls and uplift each other and spend time together. So we do that. So there's just a lot of stuff like that we've implemented now. And a lot of it we're going to keep on doing even after the world opens back up, because we realize that it enables us to reach even more people.
I love that. Yes. And so is that how you have your university courses? Is that why you and Ron are doing those?
Yeah, so we also started something, and so Ron Clark and Michael Bonner, who's also on our staff, and we're the first, but we've partnered with Premier University. And Premier University, for almost 20 years, I've been a speaker with Premier Speakers Bureau. So it's actually a division of Premier Speakers Bureau. But we've created courses for educators. And so I've done one on how to create a climate and culture for success. And in it, I use also talk about my principles for effective communication, which are in the book Talk to Me, but they're modules, and so teachers can go. The benefit of this is that teachers can take the course whenever they want. There's 20 in my particular course, for example. There's 27 modules. Each has a video. Each has reflective questions, notes, things to implement, and then there's even if let's say your administrator wanted you to take it, there are even optional quizzes that you could take to make sure that the person really took it. But it's really just something to help both teachers and administrators in their classrooms and across the school. How do you create this joyful climate culture, even in the midst of when we've got kids here that are leaving our class to quarantine, or you're teaching hybrid, which hybrid is exhausting, or all those different things that are going on. How do you still keep on keeping on with that joy?
Yes. And I wanted to say that we're actually going to give away one of your courses for free this morning. Mikey's here for it. So the way that you get this is by commenting, because I'm just going to choose a random commenter. So if you're watching, please comment. You will be part of the drawing. And do we have, I meant to have a link before we went. Do you have it off the top of your head? I can find it if you guys talk. I'll find it and drop it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mel. If you just go to premieruniversity.com, but you got to spell Premier University, PREMIERE University. How Premier sometimes has an E on the end, sometimes it does not.
Right.
The Premier University with an E on the end of Premier.com.
PremierUniversity.com.
And if you go there, it has Michael and Ron and me right there. So you'll be able to see it quickly, and you just scroll down to it, my picture there, and click on that course, and you'll be able to even learn more about it. There's a little video that tells you a little bit more about it and everything.
Oh, I love that. I bet Alice is on that. She's a really fast typer, and she doesn't make a lot of errors. Hey, Becky.
So Becky's baking muffins and listening. I wish we could have some of those muffins. That would be sounds good.
Yes, I know. Okay. Oh, good. You dropped the comment. See, you're fast. You're on it. I love that, Alice. So it's great. And I have actually taken most of the course, and I have to say that it is a great course. Very easy to listen to, but you're a great storyteller. And I think it's so, I don't know. I was going to say it's funny, but I don't want to be like, when your latest book is Fight Song, right?
Right.
And you talk about stories like that actually make you want to fight. Like, I know that's not why you chose that title, but I mean, like people, and we all experience this when we're teaching amazing students, but parents and the community around us, we're going through stuff. You don't always have great, moments with everybody in that community, especially some parents. And you talk about that. And what I love about your course the most is just being able to reach people even through those difficult times. You give a lot of wisdom, like practical wisdom, not just fluff that sounds good, like things that you can put into place immediately to help guide you through that.
Yeah,
So,
I'm always talking about this whole idea that you've got to have that principle of consideration. You have to take into consideration there's more to the story, and we can never fully understand what someone else is going through. And even if you think, I've had that happen to me. Well, maybe you had a different support structure. Maybe you were raised to be able to handle different stressors in a more healthy way. Maybe you don't have a lot of other things on your shoulders that person does. And so it doesn't mean people can bully you or mistreat you, but if you have a consideration mindset, it tempers the way you approach people and the patience you have. And honestly, it helps you not to get hurt so much. Somebody kind of says an offhanded comment, somebody could say 50 comments to us and we feel like so great. And then one person will say something negative and you obsess over that one comment. 50 positive emails. You get one email and you don't know how to interpret it. You will sit there all day and just let that just weigh on you. So I think it's really important that we keep that in mind, that there's always more to the story. And then that idea of too, was especially that we're dealing with, I have great relationship with our parents at our school. And that's been one of the things I don't do everything well, but I think that's one of the things I've always been able to manage well. And I, because my motivation when I meet with them is always that, how do I have, truth and insight and wisdom here so we can have solutions? I come to it from that idea of it's not about me. It's about how do we come together to help this child. And so, thinking through that a lot of times is very important, and you get all up in your emotions. It's hard not to, because we work so hard, but it's very helpful.
Yeah. It really is hard to get out of those emotions. I'm doing a little bit better as I get older, but yeah, I wish I could have had that skill. Like there are some times that I go back.
Well, we take everything personally.
Yeah.
It's human nature to take things personally, and sometimes it really has nothing to do with you. It's something else that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Super true. That's something I learned a long time ago. Is when parents call up and complain and they're screaming at you that you're the worst person ever, just listen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the straw that broke the camel's back. That's not necessarily the thing. And
exactly. So yeah, and fights. My books are very different. Talk to Me is a book that talks about those. It's very principles and things to use in your school to help with those communication issues and to be able to build rapport and relationships. That's what really the meat of that book is, and that's what a lot of the course is. Fight Song, the newer book, totally different departure, but it also is really just about how do you overcome adversity. It's really it's not a memoir, because I feel like I have to be like 70 to have written my memoir, but it does give all the deep, dark secrets of my life.
Yeah. These kind of go together.
Yeah, they do. The first book and the third book. And so Fight Song is really about, everybody has a story, y'all. Everybody has pain and suffering, but some people go through some dark pages. Some people go through dark books, just the chapters are so tough. And so I talk about really hard time in my life when I was betrayed and I was married before, and just, I don't slam the first husband. I don't even ever mention him by name, but I talk about just the depths of despair and being broke and broke in, and how do you keep coming into a classroom and have joy, and how do you keep pushing through? And so that's why the title Fight Song. Yeah, it was inspired by that song Fight Song, because it's kind of like sometimes you just got to dig deep and find your inner song and your anthem. And but it's not just telling the story. I also give you really specific things you can do to help you, things that I did that helped me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, so you're not going to learn how to fight people or anything, but you're going to learn how to.
It's not physical fighting. It's actually your inner fight. It's not. It's actually a book about peace and joy, and it's not depressing. I told somebody, it's not chicken soup for the depressed soul. Please don't think that like if you read that book, you're gonna be like, well, I'm going through something. I don't want to read about somebody else's depressing story. I want to, have something lighthearted. I actually try to put a lot of humor in there and things like that, because it's been enough time now that I can go back and reflect on some of that and bring some of that humor to the story. Yeah.
I love it. I feel like I'm going to interrupt you, Alice. So interrupt me anytime. But no, you do a great job, and you do a great job in your course too, being humor, infusing the humor and just being relatable. And Alice dropped the link and the discount code. So go over there, check it out, and keep commenting. We're so glad to see your comments. One person is going to win that course for free this morning. So tell us how you're doing. Tell us.
Does that mean I can win?
I mean, this is your show. Yeah. Okay.
No,
but
I'm disqualified.
We want to give it to somebody that is in our community, because it's a great course, and this is good for like individuals, but also you're hoping that like school communities will take part in this.
Absolutely. There's even, a couple of sections where if there's some additional documents there that you can do, where you can do some scenarios and reenactments and all kinds of stuff if you choose to. It's like additional things that's, if you have a few people even taking the course together, where you can come together and collaborate on some of the content. So it's
awesome.
It's set up for either individuals or groups. And it's actually something that both school leaders and teachers can use. So that's, I guess, an important thing to mention. So Ron and I are the co-founders of the Ron Clark Academy. I'm the executive director, but I also teach. So I teach every day. I teach language arts. This is my 34th year teaching. So when I come at these things, I'm coming from all those, and I'm a mom and I'm a wife, and so I'm coming from all those different perspectives of there's things are great to do, but like I've got dirty laundry and I got to feed my kids. Like, how do I do all of that? So, I really kind of bring in all of those things as well, trying to be things that are practical, but also very helpful.
I'm glad you said that. So for anybody who's watching, tell us how many years you've been in education.
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to know. Alice, how many years have you been in education?
22. Started teaching in 1999.
Awesome. So cool. That's the year that I graduated from high school, is 1999. Save the best for last. That was our motto. I don't always think of that. And I started teaching in 2004. And I feel like my first group of fifth grade or fourth graders were like being born the year that, the year that I graduated high school was the year that they went to kindergarten, and the year that I started teaching them. Like there was this really cool connection, and I'm friends with a lot of them still today. Oh wow, 28 years. That's great. That's great. Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've been doing this a long time, and yeah, fall of 1987 when I started teaching. So it's been a while. I had a chalkboard, and then when I got my overhead projector, I thought that I was living large because I could make things colorful. And I'm still really fond of overhead projectors. But yes, Alice is going. For those of you who are youngins, overhead projectors were revolutionary because you could color everything. You could color code things, your teaching skills, but you knew teachers when you would see them in public because their part of their hand and down the arm would always have vis-a-vis marker on it, because as you would write across, it would just smear on your arm and it would never fully wash off. So it was a definite sign of a teacher if you had that.
Yeah, the overhead projector, that's so funny because I remember in college, so it was the early 2000s, and they're like, how are you going to put technology into your teaching? And I'm just thinking, I don't know, like technology, those are still during the early 2000s, we still had the carts with the TVs on them.
Yeah.
So that was,
we still have those. Actually, the cart I have right now, they finally took the TV off of it so that I could just have the cart, because I asked for a cart. Like, we have these ones with TVs on it. But when I started teaching in 1999, I actually inherited the laptop algebra program. So my school was actually one-to-one laptops with just a cohort of kids, even before then, which I just think is super amazing. So I've had some really nice opportunities.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that is in 1999. Wow, because I remember learning that was one of my in 1998 is when I learned how to type. Like I took a keyboarding class, and it was on those big like I was like, I cannot type, and I almost left the class because I'm like, I don't know, it just was so scary because I was terrible at typing. But yeah, those big computers. Yeah. So that's cool that you had laptops in 1999. That was not even close.
Cutting edge, man. That was really cutting edge. The first thing I can remember in our school when we first got technology, we had Apple IIe computers, and they're these big old monstrosities. So if you're younger, like you got to Google these pictures to fully appreciate this. But then they didn't really know what to, as Mel was saying, they didn't really know what to do with them. Because like teachers, we had two programs. We had Print Shop Deluxe, and so teachers would make these banners, and then there was a program where you could make crossword puzzles with vocabulary words. So that's all we could do with these computers. And we would print these banners, and you'd have those old fashioned printers where there's like holes down the sides of the pan, and
yes.
So you still had to get markers. It would basically outline these bubble letters, and you'd still sit there all day with markers, and you would color in the letters, and then you would put that on your bulletin board. And so things have improved. Yeah. But I can remember when we first got technology too. I remember I visited a lot of schools and do training, and by now it was pretty integrated. But I remember I going to a school, and the principal was so proud, and she said, we have technology Tuesdays. And I said, well, what is that? And she said, on Tuesdays, we all have to write a lesson with technology involved. And so I was like, well, that's messed up, because this school had so much technology. I mean, they had Promethean boards. I was like, why is she writing on that board? Why isn't she writing on that Promethean board? And so we've come a long way, because now it's such a seamless part and integrated into everything we do. We can't imagine if this global pandemic had happened when we did not have this technology, in just this ability to connect with our students, it would have been even more tragic. And I know that there's still so many issues with equity where there are kids that don't have access, they don't have the technology. Teachers are trying to do the very best they can to even somehow connect with them and run off packets for them and things like that, and get them hotspots and things like that. So it definitely has highlighted that inequality that we have when it comes to resources for kids during this time. But overall, how fortunate that we've had it.
Definitely. And I got to say that here in Alaska, they don't even have restrooms in every home or electricity. Like there's a lot to be, it's crazy. Like the packets is literally how a lot of teachers have been able to keep going with their students. And the hotspots, I was talking with Brian, some from Nearpod yesterday, and he said that there is one school that they're working with that has a satellite, like they're able to, now they're like doing stuff like crazy. They like contracted a business that is doing Wi-Fi with satellite. I can't even say it right, but does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Oh yeah, that's common for rural areas, is to get it from satellite.
Okay.
It's more expensive.
I thought it was crazy cool. I was like, whoa, now that is really good.
And then there's
That blew
some
me away.
where their local television stations have been airing lessons on TV, which, so I do love how people are trying to do anything they can to try to provide something that makes a big difference. But if we had gone through this without technology, I can't even imagine what would have happened. I can't even imagine.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
And there are things I know that y'all are a lot more advanced technologically. I've always used technology. I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm doing, but there are a lot of things I was not doing, but even when the world returns to normal, I will forever do. Like, why didn't if I had a parent who couldn't take off work because it would, by the time I drive here to have a conference, why, you can do it on the phone, but there's something about seeing someone's face. Like, why haven't I been doing Zoom conferences? A parent can step away from the job for 15-minute break, maybe, or why hadn't I just FaceTimed them? Why? And I've done FaceTime with my friends, but why did that not ever occur to me before? I have no idea. We have alumni. One of the things we do is we work really hard to stay connected to our alumni after they graduate from our school. And so our kids are in college. Some of them have graduated. They're in the career world. And so we try to, because they're so spread all over the country, we have done in the past, during the summer and during the winter holidays, we'll have like get-togethers. But we're like, oh my gosh, there's so many resources we should be providing for these kids. So now we have an alumni council who helps us connect with all these kids. And every month we have an alumni meetup. And it's great because they've asked for things like we've done something on stocks and credit card debt and, all these different things about financial literacy. And, what do you do about this? And where are those, what things do you need to be aware of? And how do you file for those student loans? And how do you, negotiate payment plans and all kinds of stuff like that. And then like they've even said, we want relationship advice, like things that you all as adults have learned that would help us to know. It's just, so it's been a beautiful thing because once a month we're getting on here with kids that are all different ages from all over the country. And we're building a community again with those kids who once went here. And so that's so powerful. Never even occurred to us.
That is.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Gosh. And Terry says loneliness would have been so much more prevalent and pervasive in everyone's lives. Students would have suffered really, yes, without technology for sure. Becky says, agree, the educational landscape has changed and much of it is for the better. Yes, there, like you said, Kim, and even Alice, we talk about this, like there are things that we're going to take in with us that are so much better. And I totally agreed with that. And Mikey is he's here for you, Kim. He's here for you.
Thank you. Love you too, Mikey. That's very sweet.
Yes, and show your video, Melody.
Oh yeah, speaking of technology, but I want to preface this video. I don't know if Kim has seen this video. This has been kind of a joke. So Alice is huge on YouTube. Like she's got like hundreds. I don't know how many YouTubes or whatever. Last week after our coffee talk, hundreds. Okay. And so Alexis and we were all talking and she's like, hey, I want to do this. And I don't know. Anyway, this video is ridiculous. I don't even know what was going through my mind. But my goal is for this video to be her #1 video. So she's going to show it. And this is speaking of technology. It's a great tip. Like people really like this, but I would prefer like after we view it and have a good laugh, like if people would like watch it, keep watching it, because I have to get up to 237 views to 237,000 views to beat her #1 video.
That's a lot.
All right.
That's ambitious.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So to summarize, we were having a conversation and I had this tip that I really needed some people in the video to be able to demonstrate. I said, hey, can I record this? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then they proceed to just kind of look off into space. So here we go. So, now, wait, did I get it on there?
You deleted the screen
share. I'm not good at using technology. You got to like bear with me here. So now Melody has been having such a good time with this video. She has sent me multiple like screen grabs from it. And she posted on, and I just bust a gut laughing every single time. She's posting on Facebook and Twitter's like, everybody look at my face. So,
Control minus. It's ridiculous.
Thumbnails. I'm like, you have to make this, the thumbnail is this picture of Melody. So I'm showing you right now in my YouTube studio, so you can make sure you can get the thumbnail right in there. And
that is so ridiculous. I love it. It's just too ridiculous. Yeah.
I'm gonna allow for sound on this tab. No, it should work. It's working. No, it's not. Unmute.
Oh man.
I guess
there we go.
Presenting to everyone where I'd much rather see my friends Melody and Alexis in this box of nothing. So I'm going to do control minus. I'm on Mac actually, so I'm going to use command minus, whatever, same thing. So control minus, do you see how now that box became smaller and my friends became bigger? So command minus, control minus on a PC or a Chromebook, control minus, control minus, control minus, minus, control minus, control. That's as small as I can get it. But you see now it's like over there, really tiny, and it's not my way, and I get to see all my friends a lot bigger. They can see more tiles, and I would recommend
I just cut off too soon.
That's gotta be a meme, that face right there.
Video. Okay, I'll do it again. Wait. I didn't want to go there.
We have watched it, and it's okay if you're watching. Like it's okay if you're laughing. Like my husband and I have watched it so many times. Like that's why I think I can't see out of one of my eyes. I think I ruined my contact.
Right, I'm gonna mute this. You don't need to listen to me. But we are looking at Melody. Is the point here? Who is?
But the control minus adds to it. The control minus over and over also just like is ridiculous. Control minus, control minus, control minus.
Well, he's like, what the heck are you talking about? When she does that to me all the time. Like, I'm telling her something, she's like, yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's fantastic. I'm telling you, that's a meme right
Yes.
there. That face can be used in so many different situations. So
I'm gonna write.
I have to know, does that only work in Google Meet? Does it work in Zoom too?
Time.
Alice, does it work in Zoom? Kim wants to know, or is this just Google Meet?
I assume so. And I don't know. I mostly use Google Meet. This is a Google Meet tip. On Zoom, they actually don't put this little "you're presenting" box. So then I'm going to say no. It's unique to Google Meet is this problem. But Control plus, Control minus, and Control 0 returns your Zoom. You should be using that on like everything. Whenever you, like when I'm using Google Classroom and for some reason I can't see the button sometimes, I just control minus out, then I can see, I'll go, here's these buttons. When I am on Google Sites and I embed something and I'm trying to stretch it just so I can get the whole document embedded, if I usually can't do it unless I control minus, control minus, control minus, control minus, control minus, resize it, and then, yeah.
So Allison, I have to know which video has, what is Mel up against here? Like which video has 237,000 views? Like what is the competitor?
It is using bullets in a Google Doc.
Interesting.
That is our competition.
Using bullet. Are there any facial expressions that compelling though in that one?
I do not think there is. I think the whole thing is from 2017. So by the way, Melody, you know, got 4 years to be able to catch up to this 4,000 views on the bullets. So I'm gonna tweet this out.
And I like Mikey. Yes, I feel like we should make the hashtag control minus. Like it needs to be a new thing. Yes. You know, but this actually, I love this because it actually helped me to like not worry about the makeup thing. I was thinking about it because when I first saw it on Thursday, when she brought it up, I was like, what? How could you do that? Like, you already know I struggle, right? But then I just started laughing because it was so hysterical. I thought, I mean, I watched it a lot. It went from like 188 views to 1,000 views. And I don't know how many of those views were myself and my husband. Like we were just laughing. So but I love it. And it helped me. I wrote a blog about it last night because I just share, you know, I'm just writing or whatever. But you know, you can be everything. You can look great on a live broadcast and have your makeup done and look beautiful, and you can be as hysterical and silly and still be the same person you are, and nobody's judging you. And so that was something that I've really been thinking about the last few days. So I'm glad, and now here I am. I'm having fun with you ladies. You're both beautiful, but I don't feel any sort of like weirdness that I have no makeup on. So I appreciate that.
Yep. Awesome.
I always tell you, no one thinks about you but you. You know, the only person whose double chin you notice is yours. So don't let that keep you from sharing what you have and just jumping on, making a video, or getting a call with somebody. Just do it. Who cares?
Absolutely.
Agreed. Yeah, totally agreed. I just want to say that I am so impressed with all of the people that have been telling us how many years they've been teaching. Like almost everybody's in the 20s, like, you know, high up there, at least 2 digits. And a lot of times teachers that are in the 2 digits aren't so worried about like technology and everything. And I've worked with teachers in the past that are like, I can barely get into my email, and they laugh about it, you know. But I think that this pandemic has really gotten people out of their comfort zones in a lot of good ways. And I'm just so impressed with the people watching today that they have been teaching for this long and they're like on it. Like kudos to all of y'all. Seriously, it's awesome.
I do think so. It's empowered a lot of teachers and quickly. I mean, literally you had to figure out, some teachers in 2 days had to all of a sudden teach online. And it's a totally different, you know, in some ways it's a different skill set. There are some things that ring true both ways, you know, whether you're in the classroom or on that computer, you got to exude that passion, that joy, that energy. You got to, you know, connect with those kids and build those relationships. But, you know, sometimes if you've been teaching a while, you know, we have our lessons the way we like to do our lessons. And you have to rethink that. Even for me, now that I have students in my classroom, you know, we returned on Monday, as I mentioned. I'm such a teacher who always has like collaboration happening and kids in groups. And, you know, there's all this interaction. And we also kind of say our school before kind of had a mosh pit mentality, meaning that like we're always like up on each other, hugging each other. If you ever see any of this, you know, video of the interactions at our school, you know, we're throwing kids in the air, you know, we get cheering, we're all this kind of stuff, which you can't do. We still cheer and we're still doing that, but you can't do it in the same way because you're socially distanced. It's just awkward. So I've even had to rethink a lot of my lessons with the kids in the room because you can't go sit right beside them right now. You can't share materials with them like you would do. And so it's a lot of shifting and changing things in the midst of all of this.
Totally. I mean, yeah, like it's a lot. Everybody that is teaching right now, you guys are amazing. Like seriously, just hugs and just, you know, oh my gosh, you guys are so amazing. Teachers, I'm just, yeah.
And when you're teaching kids in the classroom, but you've also got kids at home and you're doing them both simultaneously, which is what we're doing too. That's a whole other ball game. So heroes for sure. It's a lot.
I've had so many conversations over the years where I've heard people like, oh, my teachers can't, that's too much for them. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. These are college graduates. Of course they can. They're very capable and wonderful people. And I just feel so vindicated. Of course they can. We've all pulled together and teachers are so resourceful and able to get it done. So there you go.
They're brilliant. Teachers, they just needs to be more appreciation given to them for what all they can do and what they have been doing during this whole time. It's just amazing. And, you know, it's the other thing too. Even though, you know, we're fortunate, we have jobs, we're employed, we've got, you know, roofs over our head and things like that. There's a lot of trauma, as we know, not only with our students, but with our teachers, you know, and so you've got to go on that screen or in that classroom and be joyful, but a lot of them are fearful for their health issues or health issues, someone in their home. And a lot of them are, you know, maybe their financial status has changed significantly. Maybe their loved one, maybe their partner lost a job and, you know, and then they've got elderly parents. You know, it was tragic for me during this time. My daddy, after a long battle, Parkinson's passed away, and, you know, not being able to be physical. I could at the very end, but because he was so sick, they wouldn't let me be with him. I mean, there's so much trauma associated with all of that. And teachers have just been still being there for those kids, even if they're talking to a bunch of little black boxes and nobody's turning on the camera, they're still doing everything they can. And so, yeah, there's just not enough things to say about how wonderful teachers have been during this time.
Really, truly. And I haven't seen a lot of the negativity that some of my friends are saying that they're seeing. But I just feel like if the average person knew all of the hoops that have to be jumped through and all the needs that are being met, I don't think anybody would say one mean thing against a teacher. Like really, truly, I am so impressed, especially with this community, because we interact daily. Like, this community is so supportive, and people will put like, I have this issue, and it doesn't matter if 5 people have already talked about it in the past. Like, all these people jump in and they're helping. All these people, our friend Bridget, she makes a whole bunch of free resources. They're always sharing. People in this community are always sharing like things for the Google Classroom, or, you know, it's not always Google, Microsoft, whatever format or platform is being used. Like, I'm just always amazed by the amount of love and support that teachers give one another. And I'm so glad to be a part of this community. I'm so glad that you're here today and we can honor other teachers. Are we ready to give a prize away, or do we want to like continue to get, okay. All right, so I'm going to give you another, just a 1 minute, because I want to try to get a whole bunch of comments up here, because I'm just going to choose one randomly. So what is the question that we can ask that people can answer? Still, if you can tell us how many years you've been in education, and even if you've already told us, tell us again. Just get that number in there. Ladies, do you have
I have a question. I'm just curious, how many are, if you're 100% virtual, 100% in person, or you're teaching hybrid right now? Which of those are you, what is your reality right now?
Good question. Terry says, I think that the point that I don't want to keep learning is the point at which I should retire.
Right.
Students deserve the very best, and the only way to get that is to keep learning. Teaching can always improve, plus the collegial aspect is so fulfilling. That's awesome, Terry.
Amen, Terry.
I'd like to build on that for a second. Is my late co-author, you know, I'm never going to get over this. She passed away a few years ago. And I remember visiting her in her classroom on her last week of retirement. She was retiring that week, and she had just bought new stuff. She bought new stuff for the last week so that the kids, she's a calculus teacher, she wanted them to be modeling some phenomenon in calculus. So she had bought little cars and things. Most people are giving their filing cabinets away 2 years, like, I'm retiring in 2 years, and they start giving their stuff away. And then she was buying new things the very last week. And that is what I want to be, like Thelma and Louise, going off the edge of the cliff. I'm going to keep learning until I'm gone.
She went out in glory. I love that. That's beautiful. That's the way to do it, y'all. Drop the mic, you know. It's like,
yes.
Go out on top.
Wow. I love this. And what it's, I wasn't laughing what you were saying, Alice. Mikey just keeps commenting, I really want to win. And I think that's a great game right there. Awesome. Oh my goodness. Here's a math problem. If we collectively, you know, we could do this later. Like, this is not instant, but yes, Mikey, we love everybody too. But like, if we put all the years of experience that all of us in this community have, like, what would that, you know, how many years would that look like? Okay, we have a lot of comments. So I'm just going to go up, ladies. I'm going to go, somebody just tell me. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get over here. Okay. Okay, here we go. I got it. So I'm going to just be scrolling, and then I'm going to start scrolling down. And whenever we say stop, is whoever it lands on is whoever wins. Tell me when.
Which one of us is saying it, me or Alice?
And yeah, Eve, you know what, Kim, you.
That's a lot of responsibility. All right, nobody get upset with me if I don't say stop at the right time. Okay, so all right, stop.
All right, Damian Stinson, you are our winner. So,
Damian,
right?
Oh, okay. And it was truly random. It was truly random. I was just going up and down the comments.
Sorry, Mikey.
You played hard, Mikey. Nobody can fault you for that. You did a good job. But you all, the comment that we dropped earlier, you can still go and get 10% off already a discounted price if you really want to take the course. And it's a great course. So I would recommend it. And so if you use KB10 as the code, you will be getting a discount price also. Yes. But congratulations, Damian. Yes, there we go. Boom. We're all winners. Yay! All right. Well, we are getting close to our time of our coffee talk is coming to a close. But before we do, I always like to ask, do we have any more wisdom? We've shared a lot of wisdom this morning, but is there anything that you have final words, last words before we go for the weekend?
I would like to tell teachers that just grant yourself grace during this time. I know you're working so hard, and you know, all three of us love social media. Social media can be a blessing, but it can also be a curse, because you can get into that whole comparison trap, because you're just doing the very best you can do, but you're like, but how is she doing all that? And how is he doing all that? And then you start thinking, oh my gosh, it's not like that for me. you can't be like that. You got to keep learning and keep growing and keep pushing ourselves. But if all you have in you that day is to turn on that camera and to be there for those kids and to build a rapport for those, with those kids, then that right there is the most important thing during this time. And you got to just grant yourself some grace there. And the other thing, I keep telling teachers this, I just think it's important. As time goes on, we forget a lot of our teachers. You remember the really good ones, you remember the really bad ones, right? But kids that you have right now, they will always remember you because you're their COVID teacher. I mean, they really will. They're going to remember that. And so, when there's this whole world of uncertainty and difficulty and challenges, they will always remember that you were the person that was talking to a whole sea of blank screens, perhaps, or you were trying so hard to exude, excitement through that mask, and you were, trying to use technology. And sometimes you worked so hard and that whole lesson shut down. It didn't go all as you planned, but you still tried it. And they see that and they know that. And even if they're too little to express that, they will always remember your face, your love during this time, because there's so many uncertain things that consistency of you being there is really significant.
Awesome, Kim. Yeah.
Yeah. COVID teacher of the year. That is you, everybody. I'm sorry. I just canceled out your. Terry says, grace is so important. I just told my master's student that yesterday. Thanks for sharing with everyone. Teachers are so hard on themselves. Celebrate the successes too, for sure. And you know what? Let's celebrate your successes. We don't have to go right. I mean, like, if you want to share right now, let's shout you out. If you have a success to share with us, please, we'll take a couple of minutes and just share out those successes, because those are, Terry, so important to celebrate. And Alice, what are you thinking?
What am I thinking? You're putting me on the spot. I've already just decided from the beginning of the year, I'm just going to afford myself a ton of grace. I'm going to not beat myself up, which is of course impossible. I do a little bit. A lot of my lessons haven't gone the way that I wanted them to. And oftentimes it's because the technology doesn't work. Like, I was going to do this great thing in GeoGebra, and then the kids can't manipulate it. And then there goes my whole lesson. Or the Minecraft activity that we're having, the permissions just weren't set up correctly, and everyone's now killing each other. So whatever, I got up today, I did my best, and I just take some feedback and I just try to make tomorrow better. And that's all I can do.
Amen. Yes.
Amen.
Great words for both of you. And my success this week, we were doing our math lessons here at home, and we were all just getting so frustrated. And I just told myself, you know what, if I have to hit the reset every single day just to start fresh and do fresh things, like I would do that with my students in school, I need to do it with my own kids. And so that's what we're doing. Like, I don't want to carry on anything negative. I really want my kids to have an appreciation and love for math. And I'm going to find a way to help us get past those limitations. My two oldest, and I've shared with Alice this, so my two oldest, have been in elementary public school, and the grade thing, the grades have really kept them from wanting to explore like the different wonderful things about math. And it just becomes, my younger two, they love math. They like, all they see are all the possibilities. And I want to, how can I get my older two to feel that experience again? So we're going to do that. Mm-hmm. Kimberly says, I get to have support from Alice Keeler's membership. It has been a godsend. I appreciate you all. Thank you, Kimberly. It is. It's a great membership to be a part of. Well, we appreciate all of you so much. Kim, thank you for joining us. And I just want to recommend, I have read every single one of these books. I'm just going to tell you
that. It means so much to me. It really does.
You can't go wrong with any of them. And I hope that you'll check out her Premier University courses. And Ron has them. And you said Michael Bonner has them up too.
Yes. And if anybody wants to stay in touch with me, I'm at Kim Bearden everywhere on social media. So, well, I'm not on the TikTok yet, so I haven't gotten there yet, but on Instagram and Twitter, it's just at Kim Bearden, Bearden.
Awesome. Yes. A worthy and wonderful follow. All right.
Thanks.
Oh yeah.
Thanks,
Terry, you're awesome. Bye.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.